Talk about something really quick before we get started into all of the tonight's festivities. Really quick, Trent Dilfer,
Yes.
former NFL quarterback, is now the head coach at UAB Blazers.
Oh wow!
Blazers.
I love it. I love it.
This is his first big coaching gig. This is and the reason I'm bringing it up, other than the fact that it's motherfucking Trent Dilfer. Where do you think? What part of town do you think he's going to move to, Doug?
Dilfer? Shit, if I know what part of town you predicting?
Mount Brook, easy, man. That's where the white folks move.
Well, that's
no. There's no way in hell he'd move to Alabaster. Now, Alabaster, believe it or not, though, on the edges, the outer edges down south, there are some really, really, really nice subdivisions down there.
I don't know. I don't know what he's going to make.
Hey, I mean, he's Trent Dilfer. He's already got some money.
He does, but you notice he did take a job.
Well, but he took a job at UAB, a place where he can develop himself into a better coach and get a better job, which is what I honestly believe that Auburn did UAB. Cadillac a disservice, and follow me why I say that. Because they really should have let him go, but at the same time given him a glowing recommendation for his next head coaching position. He's ready to be a head coach somewhere. Not at a Power 5 program yet, but he proved that he could do a little something with that old beat up and battered Auburn. There was still a little bit of life left there.
Well, I think Auburn did good is make him the assistant head coach, because they're basically saying, hey, look, don't leave us yet. If he doesn't work out, we got you.
And he's going to be an excellent recruiter.
It's the X's and O's for me, and that's really what it boiled down to Auburn. It ain't about damn race. It's not. I mean, look, we love Cadillac. I mean, the dude needs a statue.
No. And so that's stupid, because if it was about race, nobody would have ever allowed him to be interim head coach to begin with. I mean,
So, like,
I mean, that, yeah.
And like, the race baiting and the fucking caring for me about Hugh Freeze's personal life, I don't care if the dude bought hookers. Every celebrity and every athlete that's male probably has slept with some hookers before. And if you dig deep into every college football program, you're going to see a repeating theme of girls, cars, and money. Okay.
Well, and look, hey, and let's. I am just completely blown away by the fact that Auburn faithful are lighting up my Facebook feed about, I can't believe it, and all this disgust and horror and so on and so forth. And at the same, no. Let me finish this, because I got to finish this thought. The thing that really pisses me off is that Auburn celebrates their last national championship. Who was a quarterback then?
Cam Newton.
Now, who was Cam Newton before he came to Auburn?
$180,000.
No. Let's go back a little further than that. He was Florida's quarterback in the wing, stole a laptop, and was banished from the program.
Yes.
So I mean, all of a sudden, Auburn's going to get some morality all of a sudden. No, man, come on. I'm not buying that shit. And they bought him. Not only did they just buy him off, but, we're dab smacking the Bible belt here. They bought him off funneling money through a church.
Yeah, they put it in the offering pot. I mean, how disgusting are you? So if we're just going to sit here and say, we need a godly man, are you talking about how
absolute horseshit? Absolute horseshit. And
I was going off on Auburn fans all week. I'm like, shut the F up. Just shut up. We have no place to stand on this high judgment moral ground.
Absolutely not, especially with all of the rapes and sexual assaults that Auburn is currently dealing with right now. There's been a lot of protests down there. There's a lot of chitter-chatter about the culture down at Auburn. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out where all this morality is suddenly coming from. Auburn needs to clean up its own house first before it starts worrying about anybody else inside or outside the program.
And you know what? He's free.
And that's campus-wide.
No, what you think of him, I don't care. He's paid for his sins. His wife forgives him. That's all you have to say right there. No, whether they're actually forgiven or if they're whatever they got going on, I don't care. They're still together.
Hey, have y'all ever pulled up a picture of his wife?
It's the daughters for me.
if you'll go to Pornhub and pull up the category MILF, you'll see some very lovely ladies that look almost just like her.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, she's hot. She's got a couple miles on her, but she is aged very gracefully. Daddy like.
But we also got,
and that's what blows me away. It's like, why you got this delicious steak dinner at home and want to go out and go down to a shack over on the edge of Oxford? I mean, I just don't get that. I mean, Mississippi prostitutes, come on, man. You know how hot that's going to be, or how hot that's not going to be.
You get tired of buying the blue stocks, and sometimes you want some penny stocks.
Well, this is true now. Yeah, you want to roll the dice on, instead of drinking with your friends at the old tavern down the street. Now, sometimes you got to go creep over to the edge of town and get you a cheap beer.
One more thought. Okay, so we almost got busted up on probation in 2015 because we paid Barbara a freaking Charger. Now, some of y'all may not remember this, but this was a big scandal under Gus Malzahn.
Well, I mean, there's been so many in Auburn's history, I forget a lot of them.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Earl, and then the Auburn fans, they lick the ground this man walks on because he took us to a Final Four. Like, come. And then we got our great player, Chuck Person.
And what Hugh Freeze did is perfectly admissible now. You can do that. You can buy a player. You can give them little cash payments here and there. You just got it. There's a certain protocol to do it with now.
This is before then, though.
I don't care about before then. That's where we're at now, and that's why I'm saying everybody needs to chill with all this fucking morality bullshit and just let the man coach for a little bit.
What I think,
you mentioned
culture.
Just give me a chance. And you know what? Love him or hate him. Hey, look, he was winning games at Liberty, and then like Bama fans. All right,
he was beating power programs at Liberty. The man, and there are few Auburn faithful that have argued with me saying, well, he only won X amount of games in the SEC. And you have to grade on the curve, because if you go back and look at the timeline, when he started losing games was when a lot of personal problems started happening behind the scenes.
And then, took over Ole Miss.
It's another thing down at the end.
Ole Miss was nothing when he took over. They were horrible. They didn't win an SEC game for like 2-3 years by then.
And they were nothing when he left till Lane got there.
Yeah.
Remember Matt Luke?
Another thing is, like, Bama fans on a morality horse too. Like, your defensive coordinator got a DUI. Now, God forbid if he killed somebody. And you know what? I think buying hookers is a little bit better than a DUI, if you ask me. Hey, look,
the culture at Auburn is the culture like any other program in the SEC outside of Vanderbilt and Missouri. It's win at all costs. You know,
yes.
Now, wait a minute. Now, Tennessee would never do anything like that.
Oh, God.
Remember, they ran Schiano off before he can even take the gig.
Yeah, that was.
Which, hey, now that we're looking at his tenure at Rutgers, maybe it wasn't such an awful thing.
But you know why? Because he was molesting damn children.
Well,
at Penn State.
By proxy, yes, he was.
Yes.
What about the Florida quarterback that had child porn on his phone?
Oh, University of Florida quarterback busted with child pornography. This is actually just now coming down the wire. And that's a nasty.
Actual player.
He's already in jail, so like there had to be some foul shit on that phone, dude. It had to be some foul shit.
And then, of course, he wanted to argue with the law enforcement that he didn't, because it was accessible online, he didn't know that it was illegal, even though it was clearly child pornography and there were children in the video, which I don't know the contents of the video, and God forbid I really don't want to know.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
he's in jail where
God. Damn, dude. I mean, look, I'm sorry, but I believe pedophiles should be executed on the spot. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Look, you can't mess with kids, man. That's just the moral. Like that's a line you just don't cross ever as a human, as kids.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
it's Jalen Kitna or Kitna. Jalen Kitna, which I believe he's a backup, if I remember correctly.
And AR-15 is going to the league because some talking heads on ESPN told him to. So, Florida, you're down to your third string quarterback. Congratulations. You are poverty.
I wonder if this guy is related to NFL quarterback John Kitna.
He is. ESPN, I read the article, he is related to him. That's his father.
Yikes.
Oh, that's a bad look.
You think?
I mean, and you know, this is some uncharted territory. I mean, think of the last time that you could think of a college football player in any division getting busted for this sort of thing. Now, we've had you know, sexual assaults and rapes and things of that nature, and some that were not reported. Darius guys. Oh, did I said that out loud. I'm sorry. I should have said that, guys.
I do want to talk about the Iron Bowler pass.
I mean, is there really anything to talk about other than the fact that Auburn played a great game in that game?
Yes,
a lot less out of Auburn than they were capable of.
People are looking at the scoreboard as 49-27. If you just take away that muff punt, okay, that muff punt that was bullcrap, and the fourth quarter when we got the interception, just think about this: we are down 8 with 8 minutes left. And, you know, that's my only point is that people are like, oh, it's a nothing game. And you know, the game was a blowout. Like, okay, yeah, we probably still ain't going to win. And even if we tie it up, Bama's a championship team. And their next Saban coach team, they're going to score and win anyway. But the point is that we played a great game and it's overlooked because of that 14-point swing with that one turnover. And I think that Auburn needs a lot more credit than they're getting right here. And I think that Cadillac, he deserves every single bit of credit because he coached his ass off that game. That's my only point that I'm going to make. We lost. I accept it. I don't care. I'm glad the season's over. Let's move on.
I fell asleep.
You said basically the same thing last year. It's always a morality, like a moral victory for all. We fought it. Like everyone knows that's your Super Bowl every year, and you're going to play like it.
This is Dr. Balls, and you're listening to Smacking Off, the podcast.
You can now tag team our affiliate retail deals with Overstock, Walmart, and Best Buy.
Find our affiliate links at smackology.42web.io and click affiliates at the top of the page.
This is the Guru Championship of 2022, and it's an all Kentucky Guru Championship, right?
That's right.
All right.
Only if we were going for the SEC championship, make it better.
All right, we got about three shitty games and about 7 decent ones. So we'll start with the Conference USA Championship. North Texas at Texas San Antonio. Texas San Antonio is favored by 8.5. Who you got, Robert?
So we're doing the points on this, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to pick North Texas.
North Texas is going to at least stay within 8.5, right?
Yes.
All right, Mike.
I got the Road Runners.
All right, the Road Runners is going to win by more than 8.5.
Yes, sir.
Mike Richardson. All right, and we might as well just count this as a group of 5 conference as well. Utah plays USC in Las Vegas. USC is favored by 3.
I have to go with USC there.
All right, USC wins by more than a field goal, says Robert. Mike.
I'm going to have to agree with him.
All right. The Big 12 Championship, Kansas State plays TCU in Dallas, I believe. And TCU is favored by 2.5.
I got to go with TCU because it's basically a home game for them.
TCU wins and covers the 2.5. Mike.
Part of me wants to say Kansas State, man, but I'm going to have to go TCU myself.
All right. Both got TCU and giving the 2.5 points. The MAC Championship, the Toledo Rockets versus the Ohio Bobcats.
I got the Ohio Bobcats. I got to root for them. Even though they're Marshall's rival, I got to root for the Bobcats up in Athens. Go Bobcats.
All right, so you've got the Bobcats +2. And Mike?
I'm going Toledo.
Toledo, and they're going to win by more than 2.
Yes,
all right. Sun Belt Championship, Coastal Carolina at Troy, the Troy Trojans.
I got Troy in the points.
Well, Troy's favored by 9.5. So if you got Troy, then you're given the points.
Whatever it is, I believe they'll cover.
All right, Mike.
I'm going Troy as well.
All right, the American Athletic Championship, UCF at the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane's favored by 3.
Well, that's a tough one, so I'm going to go out on a limb here. Much as we hate Gus Malzahn, I'm going to take UCF.
UCF to cover, to stay within 3 or win. Mike?
Yep.
I'm going Tulane.
Tulane wins and wins by more than a field goal.
Yes, sir.
All right. The SEC Championship game. The mighty LSU Tigers, who just went down at Texas A&M by, I don't even remember the score, 38-23, I believe. Somehow makes it to the SEC Championship game, and they're playing the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's favored by 17.5.
I think Georgia's going to make a statement here and crush, not only cover, but they're going to crush LSU utterly, so there'll be no questions going into the CFP.
All right, you got Georgia. You're giving the points. Mike?
Well, seeing as how Georgia didn't score 17 on us, I'm going to take LSU.
LSU keeps it within 17.5. They don't win. They do not win, though, do they?
They do not win.
All right. Now here's the big one. This is the big one for the day, guys. The Mountain West Championship. Fresno State at Boise State. Boise's favored by 3.
I'm going to take Fresno State. Shout out to Jay Fields.
I was going Boise State.
All right. So Robert, you got Fresno to keep it within 3.
Yes.
And Mike, you got Boise to win by more than 3.
Yes, sir.
All right, the Big Ten Championship. Boy, can you imagine if Michigan was to lose this?
Especially with Purdue's quarterback out.
Because is it? Oh, shit. Their quarterback's out. Okay, so yeah, it's a done deal, ain't it?
Yeah, I got Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
All right, Michigan favored by 17. So y'all both got Michigan and covering the 17 points.
Yes, sir.
All right, the ACC Championship. This is the last one. Clemson favored by 7.5 versus North Carolina.
I got to pick North Carolina because I think that Mac Brown's got to prove he's the coach in the ACC, and even if they don't win, I don't believe that Clemson will cover.
Mike?
Well, I'm taking North Carolina just because of Drake May.
Yeah,
I think he's a better quarterback.
I don't know. It'd be really cool if North Carolina won. I don't know if they will, but Clemson's definitely that team. They're that team that can lose to North Carolina, I promise you.
Yeah, ukulele, he's just not that good. He hasn't developed. He just ain't good.
All right, so one of you guys is going to win. Whoever wins gets a Smacking Off the Podcast T-shirt.
All right.
I mean, we're trying to, give the winner $1,000 at some point, but
that's what it is.
Right now, it's either the T-shirt or $1.
Good luck to you, Mike.
You as well, sir.
All right, guys, appreciate it. And we did this in 10 minutes and 48 seconds.
Hey,
all right.
This
is an express segment, man.
Hey, if y'all ain't watched Black Adam yet, it's a good movie, by the way.
Is that the Black Adam that was Shazam's other half?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I got to watch it.
I went and watched it on one of the little streaming websites I go to. Heck, I lost all kind of track of time.
All right, it's on my list now, too.
Gotcha.
All right, talk to you guys later.
See you, man.
Later.
Hi, this is Kyle Golick, and I'm standing in the middle of SEC country. We're over here. Big Ten country here. Where do I stand? SEC, Big Ten. SEC, Big Ten. You're listening to the Smacking Off the Podcast.
This is a presentation of Smacking Off the Podcast. The voice of Carl Bruton Anadilewski is generated at 15.ai.
football fans, to another quality edition of Devine's Games of the Week.
I'll give my first honorable mention conference title game. That's Friday night in the Alamo Dome, the 7-5 North Texas Mean Green against the UTSA Roadrunners, who are 10-2. I don't think Texas San Antonio has too much of a problem beating North Texas in the game. Has no real national implications, and it's on CBS Sports Network, so that just tells you how few people care about the Conference USA Championship game. I'll watch it because it's football, and we're running out of football, but it's not a game of the week.
No.
It ain't even the game of the week in Texas now, is it?
No, right? Yeah, no. So.
Yeah, the high school playoffs is going to be going. No one's going to be at that game. Texas. Football is everything, but I doubt many people.
Luckily, if you're, San Antonio is a large city in Texas, so if you don't have anything else to do on Friday night, I'm sure tickets are reasonable. The Alamo Dome seats 72,000. You can probably find yourself a good seat.
Yeah, and plus, if they win, they're probably ranked, so people's gonna be excited for that one.
11-2. Wouldn't surprise me if they cracked top 25, 24, whatever.
Yeah,
sure. What's your honorable mention, Gabe?
I gave my 2 honorable mentions because Auburn's involved. Outside of that, I guess I want to say Troy and Coastal, but I think that's going to be my number 5 pick right there because, I'm from Troy. I lived in Troy when I was a kid, but, I guess we can do some action. Ohio and Toledo. This conference is really underrated, and you got to appreciate the Tuesday and Thursday night, the weekday games for MAC. Although they're very boring and dull, but you just got to love it.
Boring and dull. Oh, the games are exciting. The problem is the teams are always ending the year with multiple losses. Other than
it just looks like a doo-doo stain. It's like you got 3-7 and 5-6, and they're just fighting for their life.
I would agree with you. This is an honorable mention game. You got Toledo, who's 7-5, and Ohio, who's 9-3, the Bobcats. And then the other thing is, they play at.
It just feels like these two teams make it every year. Like they just dominate that conference.
Well, I think there's 5 teams in the state of Ohio in that conference. You have Toledo, Akron, Ohio.
You got
Bowling Green.
3 in Michigan,
Miami,
Western, Central, and Eastern Michigan.
And then the game is at Ford Field, which I've been to Ford Field. It's a very antiseptic dome. It's the most bland place you can see a game. The lights are always sort of dim in downtown Detroit. So it's usually not. I mean, the last time a MAC team really did something was that year Northern Illinois went all the way to the Orange Bowl and then got destroyed by Florida State. But the MAC championship is another honorable mention. And then last honorable mention, the Big Ten title game. It's the last conference championship game of the weekend, and the current line. The Boilermakers, sitting at 8-4, are a 17 or 17.5, depending on who you like, what window you use, dog to Michigan. And we saw what happened to Iowa last year when they played Michigan, and I would expect the same thing this year. I think Purdue gets just mollywopped.
People are using the past 3 games where Purdue was upset at top 5 team. This is not going to happen. Michigan's going to be too powerful. Jim Harbaugh, he's coaching the best he's ever coached in his life outside the year he went to the Super Bowl with the 49ers. And I just don't see a chance. And plus, Purdue is very predictable. They throw the ball like 70 times a game and get like 300 yards of offense. I like Jeff. I can't say was it Boeheim or
Jeff Brom.
Yeah, Jeff Brom. I like him as a coach, but man, like you got to get a running game or something, dude. In the Big Ten, it's a miracle you made it. You got 8 wins in the Big Ten West.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
that's
they
my
should have
analysis.
probably should have been
You
9-3. They gave that game away up in Syracuse in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But they got, stonewalled by Iowa 24-3 in that game, and Iowa's very similar to Michigan. Good defense, likes to run the ball. Michigan's just a much bigger, tougher, faster Iowa. So yeah, this one you'll probably be turning off at halftime and on to other things Saturday night.
Yeah.
But we'll watch it because we're running out of football.
Yep, we are.
College.
Yeah, college
football.
Football.
We got NFL, and then we got the XFL and USFL. So there's hope.
Yeah. XFL and USFL coming. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, that'll be next spring. Well, we got Army Navy the following weekend after this, so we'll get that.
The worst Heisman race ever in college football.
I don't think that one's over yet. I think this weekend will determine that. I wouldn't say.
I thought when I think Chris Winkie won, that might be the worst one ever.
Winkie, Eric Crouch. Yeah, there have been some bad Heismans for sure.
Central Florida at Tulane. Saturday, 4 Eastern on ABC.
Battle between 2 top 25 teams in the American Athletic Conference. The 9-3 Gus Malzahn led Central Florida Golden Knights are visiting the 10-2 Tulane Green Wave down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
The Knights are a 3.5-point underdog with an over-under of 56.5. And I'm rooting for Tulane to win this game. If they do, I think they make a New Year's Six game. I think right now they're slotted in against Penn State in the Cotton Bowl, maybe. So,
oh shit!
I feel sorry for Penn State if they have to play that game, though.
No, that's not true because I think Penn State played and beat
Memphis.
Was it Memphis and or Western Michigan? I think in a big bowl in the last 10, 12 years. So they're used to that, But hey, it's you get a Cotton Bowl victory and you get to bring the hardware back home. So
it'd be the biggest game ever, for Tulane, and Penn State will have they'll have their work cut out for them.
Tulane since they were in the SEC when they were good, back in the 40s and 50s. But if I recall correctly, Central Florida did defeat Tulane earlier this year, if memory serves. And we talked about it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. I'm trying to recall that game. It was at Tulane. So Central Florida did go in and beat Tulane earlier this year in their own building.
This one's pretty much at Tulane too, isn't it?
They're both, yeah. Well, so some of these conferences, the higher seed gets it's a home game. Yep. It's on their home field, and this is true for the American Athletic Conference. This game is on Tulane's campus in New Orleans, and Central Florida beat them earlier this year, 38-31, actually about a month ago. So hopefully Tulane and their coach, who I think their coach is already taking a job somewhere else, is prepared and not distracted by that to win this game and win this the conference title.
Tulane's coaching staff, they get to look at this film and they say, okay, this is the adjustments we need to make. Now Central Florida looks at this film and they got to figure out, now what other way can we beat Tulane? Because Tulane is going to
Malzahn to do that is a task that is not good.
All right, Gabe's picking Tulane.
Asking Gus to adjust. I mean, look. All right, so watch the old game, okay? Central Florida, they're blowing them out in the first half. As soon as Tulane comes back out, makes a slight adjustment, Tulane comes all the way back, and they almost win. I think they had the ball and they threw an interception at the end of the game. That's the only reason why they lost. Gus
Yeah,
Malzahn, after they
Tulane
missed, he is not scoring again. He is very predictable.
Yeah, Tulane just has to make those adjustments from the first game, and their offense has proven to put up points, fairly well throughout the year. So I think we all would like to see Tulane win this game. Would I be surprised if they don't? No, I wouldn't.
No.
Because these are two very evenly matched teams. But as of late, towards the end of this season, Tulane's scored 27 points or more in their last 5 games. So, scoring points isn't the issue. It's going to be if they can get their defense solved and shut down, the Knights' attack.
Coastal Carolina at Troy. Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN.
All right, so mine is going to be Troy and Coastal Carolina. I love the rebuild of Troy. I grew up there. It means a lot, and I love what John Summerall is doing there. And I think that he will probably be a Power 5 coach here, probably in the next year or two. I think that he's an underrated coach. I think the coach of South Alabama, I don't know his name, I forgot. I think that he's another great candidate. Both teams are 10-2, and I like the direction that Troy's going, and I think about going to the game. And hey, look, go Trojans.
Coastal Carolina is 9-2.
Oh, yeah.
The Virginia game was canceled.
Well, they would beat Virginia anyway, probably, but
Would they? I don't know. I don't know about that, but the Trojans are 8.5 point favorites. Over under 48.5. This game is at LB Field at Veterans Memorial. Seats 30,000 on turf. Another conference that awards the higher seed. The higher seed to the home game to the higher seed, which Troy is. I will watch this game. This game's at 3:30 on ESPN. I'll have it on one of the other monitors, and it'll be interesting. I'll be rooting for Troy. Really hopefully they win. They've been giant killers in the past, and I think just recently didn't Coastal take a bad loss recently?
Yeah, they did. Their quarterback is injured. That's why they're starting to beef up the spread there because of their quarterback being out. They're decimated with injuries, and when you run an option offense like what's that coach's name there? But when you run an option offense, yeah,
Jamie Chadwell.
Yeah, Chadwell. I think his name's actually came up for the Georgia Tech job too, but
I think he took the South Florida job already.
Oh, Dion didn't take it?
No, I believe Chadwell took the South Florida job. He turned down, in fact, he turned down the Georgia Tech gig to go to South Florida, which that says a lot. This is why Georgia Tech's looking at promoting from within. They're doing the Dabo trick from within.
Oh Lord, yeah, that. Well, their coach, hey, look, he did a good job, so can't blame him.
Coastal just lost last week badly to James Madison, 47-7.
When you run an option offense and your star quarterback goes down, the option just doesn't hit the same,
Oh, right. You got to have the right quarterback to run the option. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's very timing oriented, and when you get a new guy in there, the timing is not going to be there for it. It takes
I
several games to get it going.
Wins by similar margins. The reason why I really think about going is because I see a high potential for a field storming. And
I think it would just be fun, and it's a conference championship game. And anytime you can knock one of those off your bucket list, why not? If I was as close as you are, and I'm sure tickets are fairly reasonable. I'd
$20.
Yeah, I'd definitely go over there and check it out. I mean, the only issue is you're going to be missing the SEC championship game.
Oh, hi, I'm Clemson Bain, and this is Smacking Off, the podcast.
It's like cocaine or something. I don't know.
These motherfuckers just talk about college sports, specifically college football, and man, let me tell you, it's a hoot.
Listen to Smacking Off the podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check us out on the Podbean app, Player FM and Podchaser. Go to the Smacking Off the podcast channel at smackingoff.podbean.com.
Clemson versus North Carolina. Saturday, 8 Eastern on ABC.
You might criticize me here, but there's proof of my madness here. But I'm gonna go Clemson and North Carolina. I don't think those will be too interesting either. Just North Carolina, I don't know what happened to them, but I just don't see North Carolina kind of matching up too well to Clemson. I love Matt Brown; he's a great coach, but it just they don't have that strength to kind of match up with Clemson. And I think Clemson's going to play ball control, keep the ball away from Drake May, and just kind of do their thing. It'll be like a 33-10 thing, or North Carolina might get like 17, but I just see Clemson pulling away.
So this is my number 3 game. I actually have the SEC championship game as my number 4, but since we're talking about it, I actually think this is going to be a very competitive game with Drake May being able to throw the ball the way he can. Seeing Clemson seeing a number of times this year that Clemson's been exposed in the passing game. Last week, the Wake Forest game. A little bit of the Syracuse game.
All you got to do is just stack the box against Clemson, and you got them in a chokehold. But I see.
I mean, the line is Clemson by 8, but I could see this one going down to the wire, real close game like last week was with South Carolina, which was a home game for Clemson. This is more going to be a neutral site game, especially playing North Carolina. That's in Charlotte. I would expect the Carolina Blue faithful to show up in force here. This was a chance for them not only to win the ACC, which they haven't done in a long time.
I just see North Carolina. I think that they're kind of demoralized. They look like a team that has zero confidence at all.
But that's where Mac Brown comes in. You can never really count Mac Brown out because no. He did that at Texas.
The Texas
in years where Texas was looking bad, he'd get them fired up to win a game. I think this is actually going to be a very entertaining game. I would assume Clemson should win. They're the better team on paper and they're favored, but I don't think they're going to run away and hide from North Carolina in this game. I just don't. And
they're going to play to North Carolina for a little while, but I just see the defense kind of getting North Carolina frustrated, and you probably rattle. If I was Clemson, I'd blitz all night and rattle that freshman quarterback Drake May. As great as he's been, but he can be rattled.
Yes, he can. Yeah, no, that's undoubtedly that's been the Achilles heel of North Carolina this year. Is their offensive line has not given him enough time and protection, along with the ability to run the football. But if they are able to get time. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. Definitely, because he will dot you up. He is a definite, number 1 draft pick off the board junior year.
They're talking about him.
If I was a team, I would drop him right now.
He can't because he's only 1 year out of high school. But the real talk is, does he enter the portal and look for opportunities financially at other institutions? Which, if I'm Ohio State, I'm doing everything I can, assuming Stroud is going to turn pro, to get Drake May to Columbus for next year, considering the wide receiver assets that they have.
Oh Lord, boy, if they get him, it's just Ryan Day. He has Ohio State in a wrong direction. You can't outscore everybody. Tennessee's proven that. It's eventually going to bite you. You're going to win a lot of games, but you're also going to lose the ones you really, really need.
Well, I think the defense needs to be better more than anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say Ryan Day has him going in the wrong direction. Like, you can't outscore
I think you can outscore everyone like the 2020 Alabama team, which that offense was prolific. But what people forget is that also their defense was really good at getting 3 and outs and getting the ball back. Ohio State just not only didn't do that a number of times, but also gave up big plays as well. 2 50+ yard touchdown passes,
300 yards rushing,
huge rushing plays, running up and down the field. I mean, so I think it's more of the defensive side than anything, But if I'm just looking at what they need for next year, quarterback without Stroud, I would look at getting May if he's willing to leave North Carolina. I don't think he is because he's born and raised in North Carolina and loves going to Chapel Hill. But, money can change people's persuasions and motives, right? So, but I'm excited for the ACC title game. Not a whole lot on the line. The likelihood is if whoever wins this game goes to the Orange Bowl and will play Tennessee.
LSU versus Georgia. Saturday, 4 Eastern on CBS.
LSU's a 17.5-point underdog. Georgia, whenever they want to turn their defense on and really suck the life out of teams, it's not quite at the level as it was last year, but it's still there.
Jaden Daniels also hurt. And Brian Kelly is going to roll him out there in a wheelchair, and that is just you are asking for disaster.
Yeah, and if they can't run the ball,
Jaden Daniels already Jekyll and Hyde. It's just that's why I'm more interested in going to the Troy game. Honestly, if that is your 10 game and pick them, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I would be absolutely shocked if this game isn't over by halftime if Georgia plays to their full potential. They don't let teams run the ball on them, and that's something that LSU failed to do well last week against a much inferior A&M team. And I think even though it's still the SEC championship game, you got a number 1 versus a number 14. That's why it's number 4. Just out of respect, yeah. I think this game gets out of hand. If not by the end of the first half, well, by the time we're halfway into the third quarter, it could be curtains for LSU.
I see. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 38-17 game, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it's a 45-7 game.
I think the only thing we would be surprised with is LSU is within a score by the end of the game.
Utah versus USC. Friday, 8 Eastern on Fox.
I'm about to go USC and Utah.
We are in sync on that one.
It's an obvious, no-brainer here. Really, you can go 1A, 1B, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say 1A and 1B is going to be TCU and Kansas and USC. And both are equally intriguing. Both are equally going to be great games. If you ain't watching them this week, I don't know what you're doing. You just, you're probably not a big college football fan, in my honesty. This is what conference championships are all about. This is why we have them. I love the matchups. Both are rematches, and both teams are probably equally going to be hating each other.
Yeah, the reason I have this, I have this as 2 and distinctly 2, because unfortunately, USC has to have this game to make the playoff. There is some discussion that TCU, should they lose a close one to Kansas State, which is very possible, would not. We know for a fact that if SC loses this game,
what's so intriguing about Kansas State is that Adrian Martinez got hurt, and that backup quarterback, he came in and just like a switch. Is just they've just been playing better.
I think that's Will Howard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Will Howard's certainly done quite well for Kansas State. But getting to Utah 9-3, They did beat SC earlier, but it was in Salt Lake City. There's some questionable calls. They only won by a point. Kudos to them. This game's in Vegas. I think both teams will be equally well represented in Allegiant Stadium. 65,000 plays on grass. Utah currently is a 2.5 point underdog, with the over/under being 68. Utah is 9-3. They're ranked 11th. SC is 11-1, ranked number 4. And this is another showcase game for a Heisman bid for Caleb Williams. He had a great game last week in the season finale at home against Notre Dame, which everyone got to see. And USC's had a little bit of a problem lately with Utah. They've become pesky over the last 3-4 years.
Utah is a scrappy team, man. You got to respect them, man. I know the Pac-12, they are hating them right now, but I mean, hey, look.
Well, the reason for that is simply they're rooting against them because if SC loses this game, they're out.
Yep.
And the Pac-12 hasn't had a representative since Washington went in 2016. So the whole hopes of the conference, despite the fact that USC is leaving in a couple of years for the Big Ten, still is on USC. And to me, the Pac-12 has been probably the second best conference this year. Obviously the SEC has been the best, but I think they had 5 or 6 teams in the top 25. In that upper tier of Washington, Oregon State, USC, and Utah has been playing great football all year long. And I think this game, with all of the implications, not only for USC and the conference involved, but also the other teams waiting in the wings from last night's CFP ranking, whether it's Ohio State, maybe even Alabama. The game's going to be great. So there's so much writing on. The only thing I don't like is, Friday night. I think this game should be it should be on Saturday night. Personally, college football in a game of this magnitude, a Power 5, should be a Saturday game. And seeing the other 2 games that are at 8:00 on Saturday night, I think this one would get top billing. So I don't really like that. It's on Fox. It's on 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 out here on the West Coast. But this game brings everything you want to the table. I think all of us will be watching this one. I think I would be surprised if this doesn't get great ratings. But yeah, this should be great. The only question is, I think for Utah is if a couple of their star players are going to play. That's really I think they will, but right now they're playing it close to the vest. Rising, Utah's quarterback's going to have to play the game of his life.
Hello, this is Viral TikTok King and Justin Brindley. You're watching Smacking Off the Podcast with Doug and Shannon.
Watch what you love for less with Roku. Follow our affiliate link at smackology.42web.io for the best deals on Roku and many other great products.
Kansas State versus TCU. Saturday, noon Eastern on ABC.
Would you believe Kansas State and TCU, 8 wins apiece against each other? This is the rubber match, and for all the marbles, the Big 12 title game. You're at AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, seats 80,000. I mean, sort of a home game for TCU. They just got to go up the road from Fort Worth, about a half-hour drive. Playing on turf. The game is at noon Eastern on ABC. TCU comes in 12-0. They were 3 in the CFP rankings. Kansas State 9-3. One of their losses was at TCU, and we did mention that they lost their quarterback in that game, but they were up 28-10. 28-10. And to me, even though you're putting in your backup, you got to be able to hold that lead.
And one of Kansas State's other losses was to Texas. TCU went into Austin and managed that challenge. And I just, I love both coaches here. Both coaches have done an exceptional job. Kansas State, of course, relies, as we have all known for many years, on getting JUCO transfers in, and this team is no different. TCU does it a little bit differently. And Sonny Dykes, first year there, but he very familiar with TCU, having been at SMU for a number of years, has gotten the most out of the talent he has there. And we have another Heisman Trophy candidate, and that is quarterback Max Duggan. Today he was awarded the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award for the best senior quarterback in the country. And he's up for a number of other awards, I believe the Maxwell Award, the Walter Camp Award. So it's going to come down to, and the Heisman votes have to be in, I believe, on Monday. So we got the games this Saturday, Friday and Saturday, and then all Heisman ballots have to be in on Monday. And so you have, obviously, Caleb Williams on Friday night. He's going to try to showcase himself, but I don't think he's locked it up yet. I know he had a great game against Notre Dame, but let's see what Duggan can do. Duggan has had the better overall body of work this year. And if he puts together another great game against Kansas State, the Heisman might be his. So, and you got some other great players for Kansas State. Deuce Vaughn, he's had an incredible year at the running back position. I was kind of shocked he didn't get some mention for the Doak Walker Award, which he is not a finalist for, but Vaughn makes Kansas State go. And the key to beating Kansas State is you're gonna have to make Will Howard prove in what I would think would be, like Gabe mentioned, a somewhat hostile AT&T Stadium. You have to make him throw the ball to beat you. Don't let Deuce Vaughn beat you, which he can. Because he can. We've seen. I mean, there are times when I think this guy, they've got him dead to rights down. Next thing you know, he squirts out of there. I think he's only 5'7". Squirts out of there, and he's got super strong legs, lower body. Squirts out of there, and boom, he's got a 20, 30, 40-yard run. So TCU's going to have their hands full, but again, just 2 weeks ago, they handled the two-headed monster out of Texas of Robinson and I think the other gentleman is Williams, but don't quote me on that. But they were able to slow those down.
I think TCU, they're playing their best ball of the year, and this is the time you want to do it. I see TCU the line is going away from
the line is close, just like the SC game. K-State is a 2.5-point dog. The over/under 62. I tend to think with TCU having beat Texas, surviving at Baylor on the last second field goal, I think Sonny Dykes is going to have these guys so amped up, ready to go, that I think they put an exclamation point on their great year. They're probably their best year since the Andy Dalton year, the 12-0 year. They went to the Rose Bowl, and they cement themselves into the college football playoff. I know there are a lot of people that don't want to hear that. They're hoping K-State rolls them, and then there's an opportunity. But I think TCU is that sort of Cinderella story this year that we want to see keep going.
Yes.
Doug, what do you think?
I think that Kansas State, it wouldn't shock me if Kansas State pulls this win out.
No, it certainly wouldn't shock any of us.
But TCU, they're having a special season for sure, and you really hate to see something like that happen. I know Kansas State wants to win this game, but man, this would be a shot in the arm to the TCU program, and there's no way they miss the playoffs if they win this game. And if they don't win this game, then I think they could still make the playoffs.
If it's a close loss, which it's a K-State beats them on a last-second field goal, I would have a hard time keeping them out, losing a conference championship game in that manner. If it is a blowout, though, then I could see the door open, and not to put a damper, because I love TCU's season and I want them to keep going, but just playing devil's, if they were to get kicked out of the CFP, but they'd go to, I would got to assume they'd go to a New Year's Six game.
Oh, yeah.
But I do hate the fact that and this is another argument for another day, but I'll mention it briefly. Being rid of these conference tie-ins to the New Year's Six, because I think then they would go to the Sugar Bowl and either play Alabama or Tennessee, one of those two. But I would rather see them get the Cotton Bowl and play Penn State. I think a TCU Penn State game would be, a phenomenally fun game of completely contrasting styles versus, as we already mentioned, Penn State playing the winner of Central Florida and Tulane, which, if we were to handicap it right now, I think Penn State would probably be a 2-touchdown favorite over either one of those teams. So I just, it's, and the same is true with the Rose Bowl. I think the early expectation is Ohio State against Washington, which, we've kind of seen that in the past.
Yeah.
So, I want to see these conference tie-ins to the non-playoff games until we get to the real playoff, which is coming, either in 24 or 26. But just getting a more odd, different matchups that we just haven't seen in the past before, and that's why I'm excited. Hopefully that Clemson or North Carolina versus Tennessee game happens. That I think that would be a fun game that we don't get that often. But this game is going to be great. This is, to me, the game of the weekend. Get your popcorn, get your soda pops ready to go for this one at noon. It's another early one. It's but that's okay. It's it is what it is. TV sets the times. We don't really get to make those decisions, but the Big Ten game should be the starting game of the day, and then this game should be the nightcap. But and maybe they'll figure that out in the future. The problem is, the networks can't agree on anything, and we're just kind of we're stuck. Whereas, with the NFL having the ultimate say in their playoffs, usually the first game of the day is the lesser anticipated matchup, and then the nightcap is the big birthday cake with all the candles and the ice cream. And I wish this game was the 8:00 game versus it being at noon, but we're not going to let it dampen us. I think it's going to be a great game.
Here's 6 things that you can do to help support this podcast. Like, share and comment on our videos. Buy our merchandise. Use our affiliate web links to buy great products and services from our affiliates. And tell others about our podcast.